Happy Tuesday morning, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Welcome in Around in the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. My name is Joel Goldberg. We've got a phenomenal show today, one that'll involve some really fun and awesome visuals. I'll explain that in just a moment. But a couple things I want to talk about real quick. First of all, fall is here, so I'm very excited about the change of seasons. I mentioned yesterday the last week of baseball season, although, the Royals and their manager, Mike Matheny, reminded me again yesterday, the season's not over. We're still fighting for something. And they won yesterday, so I'll see if they can keep winning. But that was a lot of fun to be there at the game last night working, and I'll be back out there tonight. And then episodes, of course, all week long. Going to make some changes with this show next week in conjunction with my audio podcast that runs on Monday. So stay tuned for news on that. I want to thank, of course, my partners at Enterprise Bank and Trust, hashtag no stopping you. And I am coming to you from the home studios designed by KCAV, kcav.com. So if you have audiovisual needs, certainly check them out or let me know. I'm happy to make that connection. Last thing, I'm going to continue to bring this up every single day. If you have it in your heart, if you have it in your means to make any kind of donation to Big Brothers Big Sisters, I'm a part of a big fundraiser for them for their most wanted honoree. Really simple. You can text JGold to 44321. Anything, $10, $20, $5, $25, $1,000. No, hey, you never know. But really, really proud to be a part of that. So I'm going to continue to mention that one, and we'll have some events coming up on here too over the next couple of months that'll help support Big Brothers Big Sisters. But today I want to bring in a guest that has been at it for pretty much close to 40 years. But if you are an artist, if you are a comic or design comics, you've been doing it since you were a kid. You don't just, I guess you could pick that up later in life. I don't know, but I think that it's probably something. In the case of my guest here today, he's been doing it since he was a young kid and still doing it. You can see some of that work behind him. So Charlie Podrebarac joins me, and we've got a lot to show. Charlie, how are you?
I'm well this morning. Thank you.
It's good to have you on. And I think that if anybody follows Cowtown or so much of your work over the years, they'll know the look. I mean, artists that do what you do, they have a look, right?
Exactly.
To their a style. And I think that when people see yours, you can see what stands out to me behind you is the Chiefs towards the bottom, and it looks like the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts over your shoulder. But you've got a style, right?
I do, and I'm all over. Like I do a lot of sports, but when I draw the cityscape of Kansas City, I only put the cool buildings in it. There's no flash cube buildings or boring buildings, and we have an abundance of cool buildings, so it's fun to kind of smush them together and cheat perspective. And of course, I always have the scout speaking to the Hereford Bull, and they're on the opposite ends of downtown, and it's fun that they look over us and tell us what's going on.
I should just start with one that is very relevant right now, because I've got a bunch of comics that I want to share, or designs. What do I call it? Well, let me pop this one up here first and foremost. And I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I know. It encompasses. I mean, didn't he buy a tiny chunk of the Royals also, or isn't he part of your management?
Yeah.
So this kind of melds, the Chiefs Kingdom with King of Hearts, the heart of Kansas City, and in the image you can see that he's throwing left-handed and right-handed. There's some ketchup references, the 2-3 jet chip wasp, which was the play that saved our bacon in the Super Bowl, and of course the cityscape behind him, and just a lot of stuff going on, and how Patrick holds his hands on his chest when he's watching the other team play, and I just thought, I got one of this idea came in the middle of the night. I thought I better get this down before someone else thinks of it, but it seems kind of obvious, and he's got the regal hair too, which I was afraid he'd get it all cut off or something, and this would be obsolete. But the hair's looking epic and awesome, and it just looks like he could play something in a royal scene. So it goes both ways. Almost harkens to the Royals a little bit because of the ownership and the royalty on the face card.
Yeah, I was thinking that way back in the day, you could have done one on like a Bo Jackson, in the same way. But I want to ask you a little bit more about this one. First off, you can't go wrong with anything Patrick Mahomes related right now, which is an amazing thing.
Oh, I know.
Because really, like, who doesn't like this guy? I'm sure someone that is a fan of another team may not like him, although they have to appreciate him. I mean, he's like the perfect guy because not only is he, I think, the best athlete we've had here since fill in the blank. I mean, at least George Brett.
Right.
And I'm not, to compare those two would be impossible. That's not my goal here. But in terms of pretty much owning the whole town, this is his town right now, rightfully so. But he's also a good guy and he does all the right things. I mean, he's everything that you could want. But I'm wondering when you put together something like this, so it comes to you in the middle of the night, and now you're motivated, and I'm sure a lot of those thoughts and ideas come that way. The amount of detail, Charlie, you put in these, and I know artists are different, right? I mean, some might go simplicity. You put together the type of projects that someone could stare at for hours and keep finding new things. And so I don't even know if I want to get inside your head here, but how do you come up with all this, and how long does it take to put together something like this?
Well, it's kind of like an onion. You have the idea, and once you start getting drilling down into it, it's like, I better add something to this, and it always takes longer than I think it's going to take. And it's the old saying, it's not done till it's finished, or it's not finished till it's done. Once you start it and start adding to it, you don't do it in one sitting. It's not like you just pound it out and it's done. You have to draw it out, sketch it out. I mean, my process is pencil and paper, and then back and forth, and finally ink, and then paint, and then ink again, because I'm nuts, and that's my process. It's like self-taught, and because it's a cartoon and pen and ink illustration, I need that black line to be really strong, so the messages don't get muddied, and the opaque paints kind of draw, or get rid of the black line, which then has to be replaced. But anyway, the long story longer, as the paintings are, the idea is for people not to just look at it and go, yeah, nice. Mm-hmm. I want people to do the same, have the same process, and drill down with me and look at it and say, what's this mean? Or what I've had people, because this is, I've had many eyes on this. What's this about? Oh, I just caught the ketchup reference, and I just caught the Casey and the Heart reference, and it's one of those things, like the old commercial makes its own gravy, and some of this writes itself, because what if you were going to pick a card, you'd pick the King of Hearts for Patrick Mahomes for a lot of reasons. I mean, Kansas City and the red coloring, and just if you look at a regular King of Hearts, the headband, and there are a lot of different versions of it, but this one seemed to marry really well.
So, estimate on one like this, the amount of hours, is it like?
Well, the original smaller one, which was on social media on Joe's Kansas City, and then Go Comics, I'd say I finished the watercolor in like a day, and because it was for a deadline, and then once we published it, someone wanted a large version of it, which was going to be on at the Plaza Art Fair, which of course is canceled and now virtual as well, like everything. And I don't want to mention his name because who's got it. Maybe we can add it later. But he called and said, "I'd like to buy that." It's like, well, it doesn't exist yet, so I had to then buy a large canvas and try to get grid it off so it looks the same, because I don't want any surprises like perspective being off, and I'm very precise about that thing, and that took a lot longer. That took like days, but it was almost not easier to do, but a pleasant thing to do, because it's large scale. You don't have to use the readers for that. It's just kind of big, and a different process, and acrylic paint is watercolor dries in like no time, and you have to be careful that it's not running. And whereas acrylic is it's kind of like spreading butter, or icing. It's fun to work with.
So I'm always fascinated by someone like yourself that is putting together these cartoons. You have to be so plugged in with what's going on in the world, or just, you know, in your community, certainly interests. And so, you know, I see something like this, and, you know, I never thought Rosenthal Closenthal, but that like to me is the creative mind of an artist right there too. And of course Trevor Rosenthal has since been traded over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but he was dominant while he was here. He's a local kid. Boy comes home. Is this one where you're watching a game and you say, wait a minute, Rosenthal Closenthal, or how does that work?
Absolutely. I mean, not the first time, but after he starts stacking up some saves, I'm really good or bad at wordplay. It's like, you know, my wife Alicia and I are like, we're watching the game. That the games honestly are like, that's our summer sound. In fact, we'll have to pipe your voice in during the winter months just to kind of get us in the mood. It's always on, and the games, you can talk over Royals games. I mean, it's very pleasant. It's like it's like not a screensaver, but it's a very pleasant experience for us.
That's the beauty of baseball, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can do a couple things at once.
And so I had these cartoons, the Royals cartoons, and I said, I'm going to put a cartoon up really fast after a victory, and it was after a Rosenthal victory, and then, you know, the wordplay Closenthal, it seemed natural to me. And then I had the character, I put it like not a 3D, but I made him from 3D to 2D because you've got all the cutouts there, and that's the first time I put a cutout. And it's my obnoxious guy, the guy that sits behind you when you're visiting another ballpark, and yells at you or your wife, and he's that guy. And, you know, he looks like he's well dressed and he combed his hair, but he can't stop yelling at your, you know, at your back. So I made him a two-dimensional character, and I think I put cobwebs on him, you know, on another one. But he's my go-to guy because, you know, Royals win, you start the show. It's like, oh, I want to get something on social media, and I you know, try to put up the reason we won, and I somehow conveniently forget not to post when we lose. So I'm a
it's funny. You know, sometimes I conveniently forget to post when we lose too, because it's just less noise.
I know.
But you know what I've learned too, and I'll get off topic here a little bit, that, you know, if you just tell people what's going on, like, you know, people obviously like happy more than the bad stuff. But the negative voices are always going to be louder. It's like, hey, you know, they lost. It's the 4th time they were shut up, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, here it is. You obviously are speaking with your art and with those amazing titles too. So I want to go back to how this all started, because, and I may be wrongfully said before that you don't just suddenly pick this up later in life. People certainly could.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that artists that have had the success and the longevity that you have were probably, at least in my mind, sitting there in class, maybe paying attention, maybe not, but certainly drawing something throughout the course of the day. Was that you?
Right. And in grade school, at St. John's on Strawberry Hill, we had nuns, and my joke is when my first cartoon was in black and white, ha ha ha, you know, because of the nuns. And Mike Savage, who's a local artist, national, also sat behind me K through 8. So we blame each other for, it's like, it's your fault that we're artists, it's your fault, you know. But they, instead of like yelling at us for doing the drawings, they were more encouraging, and that was a big part of the system back then. It's like, kids are drawing, we're not going to, you know, we're going to have art class, and a lot of them were really good artists themselves, and nurtured this, and that's why I'm not a dentist. So, you know,
I think it worked out okay.
Yeah.
I got to think too, the beauty of this is that you can, and I think you mentioned this to me before we went on, I know everybody always says they're still learning. I'm still learning every single day. A lot of times I learn what not to do. You know, it might not be discovering something new. It might be just, wait, why are you doing this? Wait, that does not work. But for someone that has been at this professionally for nearly 40 years, on the one side, for a creative like yourself, the world is always changing, right?
Right.
I mean, first off, we've never been in a pandemic before.
Right.
We've never dealt with so much of what we're dealing with. The beauty of sports, as you know, is that you never really know what's going to happen day to day. And so you always are going to have some kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
But how much does that reinvigorate you, or does it still reinvigorate you?
It does, because it's a challenge, and I thought of a funny pandemic line. It's like, I don't want this to be my last pandemic. And then I thought, well, maybe I do want it to be. It's like, what does that mean? I avoided that as a cartoon, but and you can't. I've got some cartoons with masks on them, but you also want to not hit that note every day too. People come to cartoons to get away or to escape and to have fun and smile, and that's the whole idea behind Cowtown. And my stuff, I used to like try to force think a cartoon. Now it's more organic in that I kind of follow the seasons and the sports. And Kansas City is a seasonal town. We have the change of the leaves, and in the summer I do a lot of tomato cartoons with the squirrels. I'm a gentleman tomato farmer, and I try to post the daily tomato on social media. And I used to plant like 3 plants, and the squirrels would eat them all. So now I've got 25 plants. They get half, we get half. We sued for peace, and we get a lot of good fruit. But they do leave them on the deck. It's funny how a rodent likes fine dining. They like to be in a pleasant setting like humans, and so they sit on the nicest part of our deck and just munch half the tomato and leave the rest for us to taunt. But as I said, it's an organic process now. And I get to do Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, and it's food, of course. I mean, most of my stuff's about food, which is really funny. Which is that's what's the association with Joe's KC is in barbecues is very pleasant. I before pandemic, I was doing work for Black and Veatch for their barbecue contest, the American Royal, and they'd throw an awesome party, and we would go there. We were all about participating in the barbecue contest on Friday night. We're the people that show up and then leave, and everybody else is like slow smoking, babying their food for 3 days, and we're just like observing. And that's what we've been doing for forever at Joe's and Black and Veatch and other friends that have exhibited. But talking about the Plaza Art Fair, which is almost the same time, that's been canceled. It would have been my 29th year down there.
Wow.
I know. And that's for someone who works from home, an event like that it's really, I only do that in Prairie Village. I did. And it was a great thing to air out and talk to people and, just kind of ride the wave of humanity of those things are so crowded. It just made that awesome, but it also made it impossible to pull it off this year.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of things you just touched on. One, you made a comment about people just want to look at at these cartoons as an escape.
Yeah,
and which totally makes sense to me. First off, like I mentioned before, you could sit there and get lost in one of these for minutes, if not hours at a time, and really get that enjoyment where you do start becoming laser focused, and you could stop worrying for a few minutes or whatever it is about whatever's bothering you. And what I've come to learn with my job, as much as people can take sports seriously, it's really more when you get past the treating it like it's life or death, which it's not.
right.
And I understand part of the fun of being a fan is the extreme euphoria and the despair. But really what that is it's taking people away from fill in the blank, right? I mean, that's what I've come to understand in terms of my purpose with broadcasting, is that there are people laying in a hospital bed. There are people stationed overseas. There are transplants elsewhere that just want to be able to get that little taste of home. And so I have no artistic ability in terms of what you do. I can write, but I understand the need for it. And so I was wondering how much that fuels you too, especially at a time right now where people are stressed, people are dealing with so much, everyone in some form or another that we've never dealt with before. How much you feel a purpose in providing this type of entertainment?
I do, and you know, we get so much news these days and so much information, and not all of it is pleasant. So
Yeah.
the brain needs to be fed, and in a few other bite-sized pieces of pleasantry, and that's where sports comes in, and the arts, music. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to turn it off, and you've got to hit, pun intended, other notes to feed the brain and stay sane. And it's like taking walks, you know, enjoying the change of season. As you said, first day of fall. This is a big deal, and it's some of the best times in Kansas City are in the fall,
Yes,
and it's just so pleasant. Sorry about this.
that's
Um,
okay. That's the world we live in.
yeah. So it's just makes me happy to jump in and put a little funny in there. I don't want to beat the funny out of there by being too over the top, or you know, the idea is to get a smile. I mean, every once in a while an LOL, but the idea is, it's like when Andy, you know, I forgot to send this to you, but when Andy had his mask on, it's like, who could get mad at that, huh? It's like, you know, he's got you know, and the fact that it went 4 quarters made it the perfect cartoon. In that, you know, the first quarter he's got the game plan, and then he's squeegeeing off, and then I put the 2-3 jet chip wasp. I actually looked that up. It's like it replaced the toss power trap in Chiefs lore, and then the fourth quarter, you know, it's burger time. So, and stuff like that just kind of writes itself, and it made national news. You know, but he looked good. The new shield. I need one of those.
Yeah, the new shield worked out well. It's
Yeah.
amazing what technology can do. Got a couple of comments coming in. Rob Sanderson says we have plenty of dentists. Need more awesome artists like Charlie.
Yeah. Well, thank you. My father he passed away in 2012, but he was a dentist in Kansas City, Kansas for years, and my only cartoon, dental cartoon. It's like, you don't want to hit on pain or anything like that. It had 2 walruses, and one has a fish between its tusks, and the other one says, "You forgot to floss." Well, that's one of my biggest print sellers, and you know, I hate to explain a cartoon, but that was my reference to dentistry, and yeah.
I love it. And then Becky Wilson connected us. So I'm appreciative
Yeah.
of that. And she asked the question, I'll let you answer. Is your colorful piano still at Union Station?
No, someone purchased it, and I didn't know it was for sale, by the way. So I was like, I thought it was part of the permanent collection. So someone texted me and wants me to. They live in Mission Hills or Sunset Hills, and they have it in their house, which is good that it's in a nice place, and they have photos of it. But yeah, I mean, I painted this. It was one of those projects. It was crazy. It's like, do you want to paint a piano? It's like, is that a, you know what? And we have a garage basement. And they brought this piano downstairs in the garage, and it was like one of those hot rod shows. You know, I had to get it, prime it, and I'm a big fan of that sort of show. And and then it has all the cool buildings, and it had the undercarriage with the cool buildings, and we even cut a mirror for the harp so it reflects the underneath part. And the other neat thing was, if we played piano in the basement, went to the 3rd floor in the house. So the bones of the house, of this 1937 house, was acoustically sound. But no, it's not not a Union Station. And I forgot to send you that image, but it's a private collection, I guess they say.
Yeah. I want to show a few more of the images that you sent me in a bit, and I've popped up the website. So
thank you.
For people that want to check out Charlie's work, there's a good chance they already have for years, but it's always good to be able to direct everyone where to go. But I wanted to ask you about this, what I would guess is a beautiful marriage with Joe's KC, formerly Oklahoma Joe's. I mean, that's an institution here in Kansas City. I was telling you that just when I see that image, it makes my mouth water. You know, like when the other day I was driving by. It's a different barbecue place. It's okay. I don't have a sponsor here on that one, but I was driving by, and I was jumping in to pick up a sandwich at Jimmy John's right by Gates, and I get out of the car and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should change my mind here. When I
Yeah.
when I see that image, on the barbecue sauce bottle, or I see that image anywhere now, it just makes me think of Joe's KC. What has that marriage been like for you? Yes, there it is.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
That makes me want barbecue right now at
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning.
This is the hot stuff, and it's on the table by 10 o'clock or 11, whenever they open. It's fun because it's concentric circles of friends. I knew Jeff and Joy before they started the barbecue joint, and so we were in each other's weddings. Alicia and we traveled together, and they started this barbecue place, and it was just a corner of that gas station. I mean, well, I've lived in Westwood since 1986, and so we used to go there and get gas. And Green's Corner was the name, and it was born out of barbecue contests. And so going to the American Royal, which is, of course, we missed this year too, and it was down at the historic stockyards, which made sense back then before it got too big. That's where it happened, and our football coaches at St. John's were the Croatian Cowboys. They were they worked at the stockyards when it was a stockyard, a real one. And so Jeff and Joy did barbecue contests, the Slaughterhouse Five team, and so we would be the Friday night people and hang out with them, and sometimes Saturday. And then they decided to take the leap from championship barbecue and sauce to a real store, which is, everybody says, yeah, I can make a good slab of ribs, but can you do it with the line out the door and baby it and have everything taste the same, as in consistently good? And I can do a good slab, but it's a marvel to see any restaurant, and especially now trying to keep the plates spinning and to keep everything clean and keep everybody happy and make the food good plus it's in the neighborhood. So yeah, it's a fun marriage, and I get all the vicarious enjoyment of seeing my friend's success without having to wash pans in the back.
Well, I guess it's probably a nice thing on both sides too, right? I mean, I'm sure that they have always enjoyed the success of Cowtown, and then vice versa, in a way for the two of you to collaborate in a way that you might not expect an artist and a restaurateur to collaborate.
Indeed, and it was their idea to start the sauce, and I'm like, okay, let's do that, and because they didn't own the rights to, when it was Oklahoma Joe's, to that sauce, so when they made the switch over, now they own Joe's Kansas City. It makes more sense. They don't have to explain why one of the best restaurants doesn't have the word Kansas City. Now it does, and Cowtown was all about Kansas City, and it's Kansas City's Cowtown. And it's funny because on Go Comics, I'm that's a worldwide platform, and people now realize that the Kansas City barbecue connection, and they're wanting more barbecue jokes on that platform, because it's like the real barbecue. Once you're fed some barbecue, you want some more, and the humor is the same way. Although I don't know if there's a finite amount of barbecue or food jokes, wordplay out there, but I'm certainly plowing that ground a lot.
You're always looking.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think you're right. That's a little bit safe. Let me. I wanted to pop this up real quick so that we could show a little bit of Cowtown, and so we got a little bit of that going on, which is great.
That's the page. And that's Fat Cats, which is my other cartoon, and
Fat Cats is the other one.
Yeah, and there's a hunting scene, and usually in my hunting scenes, the hunting dog is speaking with the duck who's behind the hunters, and he's saying, that doesn't sound like me at all. And the duck call is hem, quacky quack, quackiest, quackadoodle. That's kind of how I would hunt. I think
me too.
Quackadoodle doo. Yeah, I'd be more about the food or the coffee or the sunset afterwards than
yeah, the camaraderie.
Right.
All of that, right. Right. Yeah. No, I think that you and I would hunt in a similar way, which is just fine. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. All right. I want to hit a few of these before we wrap it up, and just maybe talk a little bit about each one. And This is maybe, I don't know, maybe if we can win tonight and tomorrow against the Cardinals, we'll have a sweep and we can break that one up. But I'm guessing that this one was from back in, I think we swept the Twins in August.
And yes, and that's we had a active pétanque court from our friends at Conroy's, and that's how that was born out. And the Royals, when in 14 and 15 is when I really started hitting that hard, and I had the King character in different iterations, celebrating the big wins, and now that's when that was a 3 in a row, right?
And how about this one?
Oh, this is for the Independent magazine, which is my other job. I do a cartoon called OurTown, not Cowtown, OurTown, which highlights, it's every other week, and the magazine's it's the oldest magazine. 1899 is when it was founded, and they are great employers in that. It's like, choose a topic, try to be seasonal or Kansas City. And this one breaks it down when we used to, before these people were cutouts, they were human beings living their lives and going to the stadium. So I've got a couple of vignettes. I try to not to get too wordy, but as you said, there's more going on there. It's like the guy's got
my gosh,
fountain.
So the Charlie, the guy that was heckling is back. He's yelling "Move."
Right. Right, because I thought it was just funny when people just yell that, and when we were younger, we used to scream Balboni real loud, and that would always make us happy, and people would always turn around like, "Why are you saying that so loud?" Because it's fun to say, and so Moose is almost more fun to say. The guy's in the fountain with his fountain seats. My recurring character Bob is trying to pester people in a pleasant way. This woman here looks similar to my wife, catching a foul ball, and before the protective netting, she's saving the guy that's got his nose on the glove, and of course the reference to beer, which is standing behind a tall boy, and he says,
I saw that.
And then is this seat taken when the Royals were selling seats? You just lift them out of the ground and replace them, and now they're in the man caves and lady caves.
Let's see what else I can pop up here. How about
this is this year, and this is the Cowtown. This is before the home opener, and as it's a quiet place inside the stadium. You all do a good job with the announcing and making it look as close to what we remember. But I've got the people on I-70 and the crossroads of 435 and 70 and all the construction, the two stadiums, the empty parking lot, but they're all honking. And of course, because it's Kansas City, we've got meat trucks and sauce tankers. Instead of petroleum, they're just filled with tangy, zesty sauce and going to their destination, and people clapping in their cars for the Royals.
Let's go Royals.
Clap, clap, clap. And it's got to be 5 claps, right?
It's got to be 5 claps, and I'm wondering if there's a crash that follows these claps here.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Hopefully not. Everybody's so focused on their barbecue and baseball.
I know. They should have their hands on 10-2, and instead they're,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. What else do we have? These are all so much fun. How about this one?
Right.
There we go. Monster Royals fans.
Oh, this one's the.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm seeing a different thing. No joking. Royals win 3 in a row.
Yeah, and I think the Royals do need a jester. I mean, I don't want to try out for that part, but and Slugger's awesome, but a jester would be, I think there are enough jesters in Kansas City that could be a roving or you probably know half of them. So
or at least I hear from them. Yes.
Yeah.
That goes with the saying. All right, let me see what else we have here. Yeah, sometimes when I pop up I don't see, but I can figure that one out. How about
you were looking
this one?
Yeah, I've got a couple Halloween ones. We were married on Halloween in '92, so that's one of our favorite holidays, whatever you call it. And this is Witchy Poo's got wearing the Royals hat, and when it blows off, it's quite a sight. She's got hat hair.
And
there might be one more other. Yeah, there you go. Another Monster Royals fans, and we've got, of course, Frankenstein Monster with his wife and the bride of. I guess that's the proper. A couple ghosties, and they're spilling beer on the people in front of them who are afraid of Dracula. And I think the yellow guy just needs some vitamin C or something. I mean, he's either a zombie or just had too many wheats or something. I don't know.
Was this one of those that came to you in the middle of the night? I'm very curious how this comes up.
This is a daytime idea, and I'm really geared for Halloween every year because of the from growing up, and then it's kind of exploded. And the fact that we got married on that date was funny because no one wanted that date back then, and we were like, well, yeah, we'll take it, and it's one of those things you just don't forget.
Let me show one more.
Yeah,
this is another one of those that you could spend a lot of time just looking at these little details. In some ways, it looks simple, and I'm pretty sure I could stare at this one for hours.
Well, and poor Van Gogh, it's like he had such a tortured life, and of course I use him as a straw man and a prop, and go Royals, go Chiefs, and that's like one of my big print sellers, and I think I sent, this is one of them. This is the Go Chiefs version, and the Go Royals I sent you. But yeah, it's just to wordplay and go for the crown, and Van Gogh's ghost is a big fan. I hope he knows that. But
for a long time, right?
Right, and everyone always adds. It's funny because when we publish that, either in social or whatever platform, people always bring the ear. I hear you what you're saying, like Van Gogh's ear, and it's like, they're reading. It's good. I do want to show you my squeezy ball that my mother-in-law she brought this. When we needed good things to happen in 2015, she passed away that year, but she would squeeze this ball, and the other team, as you witnessed firsthand, weird things would happen to the other team, and it was because of that squeezy ball. I just wanted to show you. It's that ball.
Don't you love the beauty of superstition? It's
the best in sports, and you learn. It's still a kid inside of us. In baseball, my gosh, that's as golf, I guess, and every sport, but baseball. And I learned early on, don't step on the line and all that, and I'm sure there are more that about, and everyone has their own story, and weird things happen. I mean, the black cat at Wrigley Field, just all the oddities that have been captured over the years, the billy goat, just weird stuff, and
I think I heard something recently from someone said something like, I'm not superstitious, I just want to keep doing things the same way when I win.
Right. And it's like, what did I wear? What did we wear? Where were we? How can we replicate? And I was thinking that for the Chiefs game the other day. It's like, man, where's my lucky charm?
Like, it's my fault.
It is, and I blame all the people that didn't wear the same clothes if bad things happen, and maybe they found that shirt in the closet at halftime last Sunday, and when the Royals won, everybody found that right shirt in 14 and 15.
No one has been able to avoid a jinx with the Royals since 1991 when Brett Saberhagen threw a no-hitter. On that day, no one must have said a thing. Every single, there's obviously no Twitter. No one thought it. No one said it. And the baseball gods aligned. So we're still trying to get everyone to not say the words no hit. No, I say it, like, whatever. This is what's going on. You want to blame me?
Get it out of the way. And you came so close this year too. That was as close. And
a couple of weeks ago.
What was not the perfect inning, but what do they call it when you
the immaculate inning?
Immaculate, yeah. So
that was last week.
That was a rarity, as rare as a no hitter, I guess. Yeah.
My broadcast partner, Jeff Montgomery, is one of 4 Royals to have an immaculate inning.
Wow.
And the interesting thing on that one, and then we'll wrap it up, is that, he threw 10 pitches. So an immaculate inning, for those that don't know, is striking out all 3 batters you face in an inning on the minimum number of pitches. So 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts. It doesn't happen very often. And so Brady Singer almost did that, right? He went 10
Yeah.
pitches in his last start against Detroit. I think it was Thursday. A couple days later, another pitcher did it against that same Detroit team. So maybe there's something on the Detroit side.
Right. There's two
really
sides of the coin, right? And in Little League, I would always try to help out and get the strikeout early to help the pitcher.
Well, all these years later, I'd say that it's worked out because you are describing or designing these scenes on a daily basis. You can check it out at art2gogo.com. Also, gocomics.com/Cowtown. And also, where else?
The artwork, my artwork is down at 610 West 48th Street, which is 6 doors down from O'Dowd's, as you know. And there are, I think, 12 storefronts with artists from the past Plaza Art Fairs. A lot of friends of mine. If you're walking the plaza, they've got a map. Art is up, and it's up through October 5th. So everyone's still showing as best we can our art, and we sure miss the heck out of Plaza and talking to people.
Last thing as we wrap it up, I mean, the world's it's not an easy place right now for anyone, and there's so much dissension, and there's so much to, I think so much that's disheartening. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way, but I also know from my end, sports can help a little bit. From your end, art can really help a little bit. Do you have some form of hope in terms of what's going on? Because I know the art doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't. In fact, sometimes in isolation, of course, I was isolated before isolation was cool, but true isolation and constriction, you can only do so much. It kind of pushes the creative button, and I'm thankful for that instead of suppressing. And I think we need to laugh, and I think we will get out of this through each other and laughter and sports and all the above. And that's sometimes it's all the same thing. There's humor in every. You have to find the humor in everything. And if you don't, then we're doomed. If we don't laugh and help each other and find the humor, then it's over.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And there is a lot of reason for hope in tough times. Period of history, but the art remains, the entertainment remains, the sports hopefully remain. There were some moments there, obviously, where it wasn't, but I know that the goal is to continue to have it there in a safe way, and we're enjoying that right now.
Yeah, so we are thankful, and there's food too. So there's always food.
Yes, some Joe's barbecue is always a good thing, for sure too. I don't need the sponsorship. I'll just throw them in there. I'm going there one way or another.
I'll call Jeff and Joyce.
Z-Men for everyone. Hey, Charlie, I really enjoyed this. It's fun to share just a little small piece of your work, and obviously everybody can see a lifetime's worth of work up on those websites. Thanks so much for spending the time, for the laughs, for the perspective. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for the invitation, and we'll be listening to you. And as I said, we'll pipe your smooth voice in all winter to keep us warm.
Hey, whatever works for you. Okay. Some people might want to hit the mute button, but that's a personal choice. Thanks, Charlie. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Great to visit with Charlie Podrebarac. What an amazing talent. So much creativity, so much fun to watch all that. So I hope you enjoyed that one and that you'll share it with your networks. Again, a big thanks to KCAV, Kansas City Audio Visual. If you've got audio visual needs, you can check them out or let me know. I'm happy to make the connection. And to my sponsors at Enterprise Bank and Trust, #No Stopping You. Hope to see you back here tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday, everyone. And thanks for watching Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust.